Nearly every single game that has had Sweet Baby Inc.'s name attached to it has been a financial or critical failure, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. But now their latest release, Flintlock Siege of Dawn, is out.
I didn't even know this was a game. Chat, did you know about this game or not? I have never heard of it. Kinda matching hair. Yeah, she looks cute. Yeah, but I'm terminally online. Okay, that's fair. Yep, no, yes, no. Saw it on stream, no. Looked alright. I saw an ad for it once, never heard of it. Yeah. So it's like, basically the majority of people have not. The majority. There are some.
The critics are only giving it decent reviews, but there is basically nobody playing it. I have a few things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I have to talk a lot on this channel about Sweet Baby Inc. It's really the company that kind of set Gamergate 2 into motion, that gained a lot of attention very quickly, and people are not happy with the content that they are working on, and ultimately
maybe if the game didn't suck, people wouldn't point this out. I know it's a crazy thought, but if the games didn't suck themselves, I don't think people would care that much. I really don't.
But now, their latest release, Flintlock Siege of Dawn, has finally come out, and boy, is it already looking like a disaster. Now, first off the bat, I have to say it is a terrible idea for companies to launch on a weekday, unless you are already a massive studio, like From Software can launch on any day of the week, right?
Yeah.
But when you are relatively unknown or you're a smaller studio, it is not smart to launch on a weekday, especially in the morning, and that is exactly what happened with Flintlock Siege of Dawn. Thursday.
I don't think that the launch of the actual game itself would have made that much of a difference. It's kind of like the argument of like, when should you stream versus like when you should stream, like when other people aren't online so that you get more viewership. Like, yes, you would probably gain like a couple of hundred people or a couple of thousand depending on the ratio, but I feel like it wouldn't make that much of a difference if the content itself just fucking sucks.
Morning, they said to themselves, this is the best time to launch a game. So of course, going into launch weekend, I am sure that we are going to see slightly higher player numbers, but for launch, these are just terrible to go off of at this point in time. As you can see, judging by the Steam charts, so far, very bad. Players...
Yeah, this is terrible. Peak is 600. It can be a bigger deal for smaller companies and games, to be fair. I think that smaller companies kind of work through word of mouth because launches aren't necessarily an indicator of if it's doing good or not. I think, yes, I agree on one hand. Yes, it does matter. I think you should probably launch in the evening. If you're like an American-based audience or an American-based studio, launch in the evening at like Eastern time. That's a good indicator, but, well, like a good choice for the launch date, but still, like, I don't think it would make that much of a difference for this particular company.
In the game right now, 600, and of course the all-time peak was 2 hours ago at launch with 607 people online. Now, of course, there are some caveats to this because it is on Game Pass, and I do think that it probably is getting quite a bit of traction that way, but of course we know that Game Pass really isn't all that positive for studios. We've heard several developers come out and say, well, we do still ultimately rely on individual sales off of Game Pass, and I'm sure that this studio is as well, but, well, it doesn't look like many people are.
This is not a small indie studio. If they're on Game Pass, they're usually not, like, small.
going to really
Not
be
usually.
buying this or financially supporting it. Now, of course, I typically do not trust critic reviews. I play things myself, give them a
Yep.
shot myself, and it will be interesting to see how users rate this game. But so far, it's only looking decent for this. Now, a 71 is not.
If it's a decent, then it means it's like a 30 or a 20 by like normal people's standards. If you take a score from IGN, it's usually at least 40 points off out of 100.
Awful by any means,
Usually.
but we are talking about critics who do generally support the messaging and ultimately the ideology that is shoved into products like this. So you would think that, of course, they are going to look past all of the technical issues and any story issues, right, in order to promote a game that supports their ideology, but ultimately even they're saying it's not perfect. It does things well, like the open world, and it is a fun experience that blends action and the Souls-like genre together, but
oh yeah, this is a Souls-like. Wait, I actually remember hearing about it. Yeah, it's supposed to be another like churned out Souls-like that nobody really cares about. It's not like Lies of P or Crab Souls, where people thought it was unique and fun.
It's still got issues. Now, of course, I don't necessarily think that, again, the critics are to be trusted, but it is interesting seeing them giving the game these scores. And of course, when it comes to Sweet Baby Inc., we know their focus is injecting DEI ideology into the product that they're hired to work on, but everything they're involved with just sucks.
Hold on. Guys, do you remember what Wukong did? How much money they fined them for not following DEI rules? Wasn't it like $6 million or 10 million? 7 million? Yeah. There was a game made by a Chinese studio that didn't follow their rules, and they fined them, like, I'm saying this in air quotations, by the way, they fined them $7 million? Wasn't all that fake news? I don't think so. I think that the company came out and they said, yeah, they did do this. They just didn't pay the fine. Awfully nice game you got there. Wouldn't be sure if you didn't follow the rules. How about you just make a good game and let people judge? Sounds fake. It's not. They wanted to fine them, but they just said no. I don't think it was a fine. What word would you use then? I think they wanted to get paid $7 million for their services. No, I remember reading the article and it said something along the lines of like, you don't follow certain things, so in order for you to go forward, we're gonna charge you $7 million because you're not like doing what we want. Yeah, it's like an extortion fee, more or less. I'm not saying it is, but still. Wukong was asked to pay $7 million to DI acceptable by Sweet Baby Inc. and they said no. Yeah, they ended up not doing it. Imagine if that $7 million just went into like making a game good instead of this garbage.
Got bad scripts, character designs, gameplay, I mean, you name it, and it's got a problem. I have not seen a single game with Sweet Baby Inc.'s name attached to it that across the board was fantastic. I think the closest game we really got was God of War Ragnarok, but even that faced a lot of criticism because they did ultimately decide to race swap characters, and the story was much slower paced than the first game, in the, of course, new, we assume it's going to be trilogy. We haven't really gotten any news on what's coming after Ragnarok, but regardless, that's the closest we've gotten to a really good game, and even that was not perfect. I mean, is Sweet Baby Inc. the company you call when your game sucks so much that you are desperate to find any audience, so you allow them to reskin it and add cringe dialogue or backstories in hopes modern audiences will show up? Newsflash, they don't, because they don't exist, and we are seeing.
And you're catering to people that aren't even gonna play your game. I hate that. I hate that so much. Just make a good video game and people will come no matter what. No pun intended.
Game after game after game release that doesn't have a real audience that they're targeting. Again, modern audiences do not exist. Closest group of people to that are sensitive snowflakes on social media, and they are not showing up to support products like this. I mean, look at Suicide
what a
Squad Kill the Justice
surprise.
League. It had everything. It had feminism. It had, of course, race swaps. It had very, very questionable character designs. I mean, that should have been a haven for these individuals, but womp, womp, womp. On Steam, it only peaked at 13,000 people. That's it. That's all.
13,000 people is still a lot, but for a AAA company, it's kind of disastrous. And that's a peak, by the way. A peak of 13,000, and then it probably dropped by a couple of thousand, which is not great.
They could muster up on this platform. It is absolutely pathetic. Now, of course, when it comes to Flintlock Siege of Dawn, we have seen a plethora of problems because the trailers.
Oh yeah, this chick offered to fight. What is your name? Alyssa Mercant? Yeah, that one.
Initially released to negative reaction.
Mercante.
The senior operations and growth manager melted down over backlash and left social media. And then there were developers that actually reached out to Cabrutus, who started the Sweet Baby Ink Detected, or now it's called DEI Detected, Steam curator page and website. And they wanted to clarify that no Sweet Baby Ink content.
It's funny because not every single video game that they've been involved of has been completely atrocious. Like Alan Wake was apparently a half decent game. It just was like a mid game. It wasn't like extraordinary, and it didn't sell amazingly. It was just okay.
Made it into the final game, but then he simply asked for
Spider-Man
proof, and they
as well,
never offered it. And now it's launched to, again, decent reviews by critics, yet basically nobody is playing it. Now, I did decide to make an X thread on this, and people are already laughing at them, talking about how pathetic this is.
Boo.
Based on the graph, the
Womp
future
womp.
for Flintlock Siege of Dawn looks incredibly bright as long as it keeps crawling upwards at this astonishingly glacial pace. This really starts to tell you.
This guy's name is Ichigo K. Ah! Say what you want about DI and all that shit, but the biggest issue I find that SBI has shown time and time again that its staff have nothing but disdain for the audience that these products are marketed towards. They actively hate gamers. They actively hate gamers, and then to top it off, the people that they're catering to don't play their games! They don't play the games that they're catering to! Like, what?
That the people that we are against don't even care about their side. It's all about money and shilling. They have shown their hand and nothing is beyond being played. They do not care. I wish we could see the Game Pass numbers. I want to see them too. Obviously, they won't unless they hit major milestones and they talk about it on their social media, but that typically does not happen. And I don't expect it to happen here because I don't think the player numbers are going to be much higher. There really wasn't a lot of hype surrounding this game leading up to release. And even now, there's no one really positively talking about it, saying that, oh my god, so far the footage I've seen looks amazing. That's just not happening. People are saying good for.
I saw that the cinematic looked pretty good, and that's what gets people like kind of excited, and then they realize that it's not good. The gameplay trailer put me off a bit. Yeah, they see the cinematic trailer. Cinematic is like, you know, wow, it looks cool, it's alright, it looks pretty decent, but then you actually get into gameplay trailer, it looks awful. It's easy to make the trailer look good. Yeah, obviously, because you're not showing the game or like how it feels.
Them doubling the players of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, that's big for them. Yeah, I mean, there's basically nobody playing that game either. I've never heard of this game. I didn't even know it was out. Yeah, so it will be interesting to see over the next
see the Steam charts after this.
For kind of release a weekend how the numbers end up going for them. Maybe it will skyrocket in players. I just highly doubt it, and this looks to be the next massive Sweet Baby Inc. failure. Will anybody from this team take to social media and meltdown and call us all ists and
well, yeah, obviously obviously, because it's everyone else's fault but mine. They cannot look introspectively because they're so chronically online that they cannot comprehend introspection. That's the problem with social media in general, is that you're always looking at someone else's stuff and you're not looking within. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, you need to, like, you know, start meditating. It's just like, dude, like, just take a break. No, just take a break. Stop. Look at yourself. Sweating and getting angry over a video game? Chill.
Phobes for not supporting this game that has a strong, independent woman of color as the lead. Probably, I'm sure that we are going to see some individuals coming out and calling us ists and phobes, maybe even the media trying to defend this game. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.
Yay! That was a good video. Wow, check out Vara.